What kind of fucking bullshit is like?
Dude, he does this every week.
The bad news is that civilization is crumbling around you.
Wear a dog mask, cut your dick off, bomb Palestine.
The good news is that you are not alone.
There's butthole shaving videos.
Feel bad for the minorities in LA for having to deal with the white people in LA.
You have 5 till midnight, live every Monday at 8 p.m. where you join 5 Limp Bizkit Americans to laugh at the absurd nonsense of the end of history.
Shit show right there.
Sam, stop it!
Sar. This thing is on.
No, you can't say it like that. The original video is Sir, do not redeem. Sir, no, do not redeem. Do not redeem.
Welcome back, everybody. Your favorite Monday night podcast. I think we're the only Monday night podcast. Probably not, but I'm gonna run with it anyways. Actually, you're only allowed to leave after 18 minutes. So yeah, sorry, you got to stick around. Yeah, it actually was Adam's fault, but we now found out that it is on. So welcome back, everybody. We're going to be talking about some good stuff today, and it is episode number 69 as well. So yeah,
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
So first on the agenda, we have Elon Musk. Elon Musk has lost it.
Enraged everybody.
So the thing is, though, like he had a somewhat reasonable take, but like it's like maybe in his case he uses H1Bs for like their real purpose. Not sure, but you know, he's
their real purpose of subverting American citizens and taking their jobs away from them.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Ultimately, that seems to be what it does. But you know, stuff like this. The reason I'm in America, along with so many critical, just for people who didn't see it, I'm in America along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, hundreds of other companies that made America strong, is because of H1B. This is, again, people viewing the country as an economic zone rather than a country. Take a big step back and F yourself in the face. Going very aggressive. And then down here, though, just to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, I guess, just so we have the full picture.
Yeah.
He is talking about how the H1B system needs to be overhauled and removed. So, you know, or not removed, but changed up how it's done. But he probably shouldn't have went out like this based on how it looks.
I think probably what happened was that like the initial pushback, I do think people went a little nuclear, kind of understandably so. I was talking about this with my buddy Nuke and Jack the other day. And really, if they wanted to have this conversation about H1B, they probably should have like really started to deport people and really develop a lot of capital with the base. Because like right now, nobody knows what's going to happen. People are saying, oh, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Nobody knows, right? So when this is the first thing that's on the docket from one of Trump's biggest donors, and you hear, oh, no, we want to welcome in millions of people. And then he just triples down and essentially calls people retards over it. I get why people, knee-jerk reaction and just lost their minds over it. But at the same time, Elon Musk kind of did the same thing because let's face it, people like him probably aren't used to being told no, So I think there's a lot of emotions, but I think they had like a fair point. But I think Trump was more so elected in the people's eyes for the idea that like, no, America is going to be put first. And like, we don't want any immigrants at all until Americans are taken care of.
Yeah.
First of all, fuck Rex. Second of all,
cheaper than Daniel Jones.
Shut up. You know what? I'll leave. I swear to God, I'll leave. I can't, dude. I can't. I had a terrible weekend with sports. Can someone explain to me how importing 7-Eleven employees helps our economy?
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna get into this. I have some things prepared.
$28,000 7-Eleven employees, or like 50 of them.
This is what we're dealing with.
Yeah, this was. I saw a bunch of these on Twitter. This was nuts.
In New Haven, Connecticut. I mean, this is over several years, but what 2,676 records were found for teachers at a median salary of $51,000.
$51,000, yeah.
And this
they had H1B for English teachers.
I know, right?
English teachers,
like
insane.
If you go here, it's like teacher. And then there's all these other ones. This teacher right here, as far as I know, it's only the ones that are just listed as teacher. It's none of the other ones. So there's like multiple, there's probably tens of thousands of teachers hired for this. I mean, the VA, like the VA is hiring people.
No wonder I want to off
I
myself
saw,
every
yeah,
time
no
I
wonder I guys
call
are
them.
fucked.
That's pretty crazy.
Do it on fucking.
You know, I don't really
steps.
agree with Elon Musk's position, but I will defend him slightly. He bought Twitter, right, and opened it up free speech. Within a year, people are Hitler posting, and it's going massively viral. So
That is pretty crazy.
I think a little bit of that was like, this is after the election now, so now he can kind of talk shit to the base and be like, listen here, you racist fuckbag.
I vote. That's so funny, dude.
You guys think, you know, like just to put it in context, like, I mean, I'm surprised by like the amount of like racism that goes on to like, this is crazy because it's like we're back in like 2015, 2014 internet, but it's just
No,
funny.
dude, it's like
that
2012
Earlier, yeah.
crazy.
I watched a minute and a half H-Man compilation to the tune of Everlong the other day on Twitter.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's
like
insane.
I see like it'll be like Hitler, and then they'll post a picture of Hitler and be like, yeah, I guess we have to admit he was right. And I'm like, Jesus, but that doesn't worry me.
How many times can typo say it in the first 10 minutes of this podcast?
That's why I said H-Man. I try to fucking circumnavigate the algorithm.
But the thing is, I don't think it matters that much anymore. Like, we should still avoid these things because like too much of them is a problem. But it's like I was basing our rules for saying stuff off of like 2 years ago, and they've really loosened them up. I mean, on Twitch, you can, as long as you're like pro-Palestine, you can kind of say whatever you want. That's even worse than this. Have you guys heard about that?
No.
Like on
Yeah.
Twitch, they're like, dude, their like main guy is Hassan. Like the CEO is like friends with him, and Hassan does some insane stuff. Like H3 talks about it. Like he had on a terrorist. He had on a Houthi terrorist on
crazy.
Twitch, and he was asking him about anime. It was so crazy.
That's so funny. After I do a good bombing, I look up
Tentacle
Naruto.
porn.
There's like, I mean,
Tentacle porn.
look, I know
we.
I know we talk a lot about like Jews and anti-Semitism here, but like the shit on Twitch is like really bad. It's really fucking bad because they kind of allow whatever.
Can it be that thing though, Sam?
Not
where
the
it's
other way
like,
though.
Where it's like because Hassan has such a big following, he gets away with it. But if like we were to do it, they'd be like banned. Like we don't have to follow it. Like
that's part of
Twitter
it
now.
But specifically, like even larger Twitch accounts that go the other direction, like pro-Israeli ones, are like not allowed. And then Hassan breaks all their rules. And yeah, he has a level of protection for it, but like it's very specific to the cause he's talking about.
wild.
I didn't know that.
Twitch is a wild place. Twitch is also the place where they're like, no adult content, and it's like girls doing hot tub. Like,
they go right up
constantly.
to the edge. They will. There was that one girl who literally had things that just said censored, and yeah.
I mean, it's. I mean, and you know, there's a. I think I don't remember if it was on this show or it was on a show that Typo and I talked about. It was like, how far would you go with like censorship if it bettered your society? And it's like, I don't know how I feel about that because part of me is like, I'm not pro censorship at all, almost, but I just don't. He was like, I would ban wet ass pussy in the streets of my town, like the song.
Dude,
and I was like, I don't agree with that.
I will say that I think Elon can make up goodwill with MAGA and a lot of right wingers if he nukes Ian Miles Chong's.
Oh my
Twitter
god,
account.
Dude, how are they
that'd be
like
amazing.
friends? It's
He
so
was
weird.
he was like a major MAGA dude there for the longest time, and then now all of a sudden it's all about
Dude,
you
it gets
bigots.
worse. If you go farther back, people made threads about this. If you go farther
Yes, I was
back,
gonna pull it up.
he was like a lefty.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that after H1B.
Okay.
I got this whole thing.
Yeah.
So this guy did a bunch of data, and this is that were certified. In other words, approved for entry into the H1B. So these are people that were approved for this. That might mean that maybe they didn't actually accept the position eventually, but these were approved by the government. So employers routinely receive approval for more than 800,000 applications per year, even though it has a statutory limit of 85,000 visas.
Jesus.
Which I guess I don't know what statutory means in this context. But yeah, it's bad. The
It's not
average
the one that you were
salary.
convicted of.
Nice.
Okay. So like 17% are under 75K. So this is not the like, not that 75K
Whoa.
itself is not a good salary. We already saw some.
Yeah.
The right has absorbed the lefties. It's literally the Overton window moving left. Yeah. Unfortunately, that seems like it is part of it. But there's been some movement in the other direction, although not in the way you want. Like, you know, economically, the Democrats are like Republicans from the 90s.
Yeah.
To our own detriment. They're basically
the whole thing with this
just
too is
Reagan.
like it's like you have all the like Musk, Vivek, which Bet David, that they're all like, we're trying to bring in, you know, like better tech guys and all this and then you go to that site Sam went to earlier, and Patrick David Bett's own like hiring for through that thing is like for a graphic designer. I'm like, oh, there's no graphic designers in America. You could get for $42,000. Like, come on, dude. Like, what are we doing?
Everything I know about Patrick Bet David, because I'm friends with some people who he wanted to get into business with. Everybody I know that's ever worked for him or did his show said he is the biggest piece of shit in the world.
He seems like it. I'll be honest. I feel I don't watch his shit, but like the clips I see, he seems like a cunt.
Yeah, Iranians, you know.
I
what
have
I'm saying?
mixed feelings. No,
yeah, I mean, all the time, Oh, sorry,
I know,
Sam.
I'm just making a joke.
No, but he is from Iran, but he's Assyrian. He's not like Persian. Yeah. So he's from Iran, the country, but he's not from the ethnic group that makes up most of Persia.
Okay,
that's
so
an
pretty
anthropology thing. I'm not really correcting.
They sent him
No,
back.
that's okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, he's got to go back to Iran. And somebody said Azerbaijan, and I said, I don't care. He could be dropped in the Persian Gulf for all I care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His parents are from two different places too, but they're both Assyrian. I think.
Yeah. Well, and
Assyrian,
he
yeah.
allegedly ran some like giant multi-level marketing scheme.
Yep.
And like screwed a
That's how
whole
he made
bunch of
insurance.
people.
Insurance,
so like
multi-level marketing.
He's got to go back.
I didn't know that this was true. Yeah, I went to his conference though. His conference was really good, but he's not my type of business leader. Probably, I didn't know that he did the multi-level marketing thing at that time, but yeah.
Well, that's
apparently
the thing
Vivek
with
did as well,
Ramaswamy. Yeah, with
which
his
is
like
unfortunate.
His Alzheimer's drug.
Alzheimer's
fan.
drug. Yeah,
Yeah, the Alzheimer's
I
drug. Yeah,
was.
they're all fucking scamming. It's just in them. It doesn't matter where
It's
they live.
DGs.
It's in their genetic code,
And,
dude.
You know, I don't. You know, there is something too that you got like PBD and Vivek. You know, advocating for these H-1Bs, and you're like,
it didn't help.
you know, you look at them and like, no offense, like, you know, they're critical of like American culture, and it's like, okay, but you came here, like your parents came here,
Yeah,
like you came here to America, and then now you're advocating for a bunch of more foreigners to follow you, but then you're also critical of America. If it literally came from like JD Vance, this might have gone over a lot easier.
Well,
know?
he's married
Yeah.
to one, so
Well, like
you know,
I
that
said,
movie,
the problem is that they like didn't have any capital, because once again, we're still in
for
the lame
sure.
duck period, and they haven't done anything necessarily productive. And like, I'm not saying that like the contributions and the donations to Trump's campaign weren't something important, but like now's the time to do work if you know any work's going to be done. They didn't do anything, and like I said, the big Trump thing is anti-immigration. All right, like shut down the border, take control of immigration, and figure the shit out. And then the first thing some of his biggest and most loudest supporters are saying right now are like the people who are in his camp with like a large bit of influence are saying is, oh no, we want more skilled immigration, which pretty much in my mind, I think the way that a lot of people took this is it's a camel's nose under the tent situation where it's like, oh, if you're not willing to take the stand now and say like all, then I think most people are just like, well, it's not going to happen anyways.
I think it would have been totally fine if it was phrased differently. It seems like it this is an optics thing.
Vivek
Like
is the one that started this.
They came at this for support for H-1B, but the H-1B program is clearly not doing what it's intended to. And from Elon's tweets I saw mentioning it, he wants to reform it, but like you have to lead with like, hey, we need to reform it. The limit is 85,000. Let's just keep to that limit and make it actually high skilled. And Elon said that he was in support of a minimum salary for it. So like the way that he sees it, it wouldn't even be what it is now, which is the problem. I know some people are for no immigration. I'm actually in favor of a little bit of this. I think it makes sense if it's done with its original intention, which is if this is a really high skilled position that there doesn't exist an American for it, and not the situation we see, which is like with this right here. These are Indian companies who are bringing in H-1B workers in tens of thousands of people. And that's clearly not what's happening. And that lowers our wages, our American wages.
There's a saying about good intentions. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Yeah. I think that's the problem. And this, like, that's kind of the problem I think a lot of Americans have right now. I know it's one of the problems that I have right now is like, yeah, there's like a lot of stuff that's sounds good and in theory should be good for the United States, but it never quite works the way that it should. It always goes against the interests of the middle and lower class Americans. Like that's the problem. And I'm pretty sure Vivek was the one that started, like he posted about it, everybody blew up, and that's probably the only reason why it got attached to Indians, to be honest. Like, because it's not just Indians, it's, Asian, it's North African, some of Middle Africa, South African. It's like all these other spots too, Middle Eastern. And then I think India got the rap of this because Vivek started it. But
I think it's a huge percentage of H-1Bs now. It's also, only the last few years. In Canada, it's even worse.
I was gonna say that too. Yeah, I mean, fuck. Anytime you talk to T-Mobile and you have to fucking get your cell phone bill figured out because it's fucked up, you're not talking to a United States citizen. And most of the time,
an
everybody's like,
usually.
They're outsourcing. I was gonna finish with that guy.
That's the old problem though. Like that's the 90s.
I can't even finish a sentence.
Even how like the tech guys handled it though was it's very weird and what we're not used to.
Well, like why would you be retaliatory to the people who just like supported you?
Well, Elon shouldn't have said anything. Elon literally shouldn't have said anything, called Trump up and had him make a statement. That's what usually happens. Yeah. That's literally what usually happens behind the scenes.
He's really bad at taking criticism.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So is Trump. It's any business leader. It's a CEO thing.
Yeah,
because they're not used to it.
Also, I want to bring up the other obvious point that we haven't talked about yet. If these people are so fucking talented, why isn't India this fucking beacon of like Wakanda? Why isn't like some why is it still shit?
Okay, did you know? Okay, take a guess how many people die in India per year due to
dysentery, like Oregon Trail. I don't know, 4 billion.
No, honestly, 100,000 people every single year die strictly from, basically going to the bathroom, like from diarrheal disease.
0.00006% of their population.
So they have 800 million people there. It's not quite 1 billion yet. Like they're the second most populous country next to China. But literally 100.
They had a billion. I'm looking.
It's over 1 billion.
Yeah, it definitely is, dude. Yeah, for sure. Hold on, I'm looking up right now.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, regardless, 100,000 people die.
1.429 billion.
Okay,
I'm
sorry.
I got 1.45. Yeah,
shit, dude.
Yeah. So this is from Matt Rife. I want to address this. Thanks, Matt Rife, for stopping.
Not the comedian who sucks.
Not the comedian who is garbage, cool one, but the real Matt Rife. These CEOs are insane narcissists, relevant to what somebody was saying a second ago about like Elon and then Trump, like they can't take criticism. This is totally true in a lot of cases. Like they can take some, but it depends. They're very narcissistic. It's a trait of a lot of CEOs that's more common in them. H-1B ties the Indians, or anyone, of course, but he says Indians, to that specific job. And if they mess up, they go back home. It's a win for the CEOs. So this is like very, very relevant because when someone's giving an H-1B visa, they're staying in this country is dependent on having their job. So their boss has a huge level of control over them. It's almost like a military level of control where like they're in charge of your entire life. It's not like you don't live in the barracks. They can't like show up at your home, but they can threaten you and your
Position
family
and your visa.
staying in the country. Like they can basically deport you by firing you. So they have insane control over your life, and there's a power issue there in a huge way. Like, and you know, I know we're talking about the other thing, the immigration, but I think that that's important to note as well. That these companies, this benefits those companies, and it's really bad for, like, it puts the people who are actually brought in on H-1B visas, especially if they're like a cook, man. If you're making 28 grand a year and you have to leave the country, you're fucked. You're fucked.
So,
if you're making 300 grand, whatever, you go back to India.
Dude, I'm pretty sure me and Luke had friends from Canada that had the H-1B visa.
I don't think they had the H-1B. No.
Well, no,
they were sponsored by their company, who is a Canadian company, to work in the United States.
But I thought they told us that if they can't work anywhere else, and if they got fired, they would probably have to leave.
Yeah, they have a visa. It just wasn't H-1B. It's a little bit different. So you can still get work visas that aren't H-1B. It's just a little bit different. Similar scenario. But we were also talking about, like, on our own show, we were talking about immigration a few shows back, and it's kind of what Sam's saying, where it's like there's blame that can be put on the people that are immigrating here, but like where I hold the blame, and what I was talking about in that show, is the mayors and the governors that are importing the people to these cities because they, you know, got it through the state Senate or whatever, to then make a deal with 7 different corporations to build the foundations of buildings, to, you know, buy out real estate, or to give money to real estate fucking execs to then pay those execs for however long they can to house these immigrants. Like, it's the same thing. It's a human, like there's parts of these subjects that are basically human trafficking scams, and it's a large control over those people in the population. So they're okay with working 80 hours for, you know, $30,000 a year. Like they're fine with it. And that's kind of like, that's also the issue. And that's why it's the road to hell is paved with good intentions. They're saying they're doing these things for good reasons, and we're only going to take the top 1%, and and it's like list and list and list. And then you see the numbers and you see what's actually going on. And it's like, no, you're fucking over us. Like, the people that live here, that have grown up here, our families have been here for generations, or even a couple of generations. Like, there's Mexican American or first generation, second generation Mexican immigrants that are like, this is fucking bullshit. We're getting fucked out of jobs too. And like, it's not, you're fucking us over. And then we see the squalor that these people get put in, and how badly they're treated also by their employers, or the people that are running these charities, or the halfway houses. Or halfway houses are for
drug addicts,
inmates and stuff. But yeah, but the other, like, the whatever, their housing situations, and you see like what they're living in and what they're forced to be in, and it's like, well, that's fucked too. Like, you're fucking them just as much, if not more, than you're fucking us, in a certain sense, because we can stand on the 2 legs and they have none to stand on. And that's where it's like, I'm kind of for the complete shutdown of everything that comes into this country currently right now, until we can figure out how to fix our country, and then we can figure out everything else, because right now it's just not fucking working.
And it hasn't been. My opinion is that zero legal and illegal immigration until you know, like, birth rates start to come up in this country, and then like once things are like good enough for the average American where they feel like they can have families comfortably, then we can have the immigration conversation. Because I'm not a complete and total like zero people ever come here ever again, but I'm definitely more of the mind, like, if working class families are struggling to put food on the table for them and their kids, then like that is so much more important to me than worrying about any talent that comes here. Because if a country can't function for itself, we shouldn't throw any more variables into the whole situation to make that any worse or even any better, because we just don't know, right? We're clearly,
we gotta fix it ourselves.
Right.
There's also this retarded leftist take I've been reading on Twitter and all this shit, where it's like, oh, white DEI hires is what you guys are looking for. It's like, I said American. So
Yeah.
if you're a black leftist and you're like, oh, you want to be like, so you don't consider yourself
Well,
American, then
no.
good to know. Get the fuck out. So
Yeah, you're going back.
You're going back. It's like, no, I said American. I don't care what you look like, as long as you're an actual American citizen. Not, oh, I've been American for a year. No, dude, you're not American. Sorry, that's not how that shit works.
And also bouncing off Sam's earlier point and Matt Rife's earlier point about narcissists and CEOs. The fucking I was talking about this on Typo and I's last show too, where it was like the amount of psychopaths, like the highest concentration of psychopaths besides the military is CEOs.
That's true.
Or like execs and politicians. It's like politicians, CEOs, and then it's the military. Which makes sense. The military one makes sense. And I mean, if you really think about why there's a high concentration in politics and fucking CEOs, it's because of the mindset that psychopaths have. And it's like you have to be extremely, extremely driven, being willing to sacrifice just about everything you own and the people around you and have no remorse for it and be completely okay with that. And that's why that generally ends up that way. And it's not saying that all CEOs or all politicians are psychopaths. It's just that there's a very high concentration when you look at it from that point of view.
If you want to be that successful or great at whatever, that's why I think Tom Brady and Michael Jordan are psychopaths also. It's like if you're they successful like in your field, like you have to be able to like just be willing to stomp on fucking necks. Like there's just no way around it. You can't be like the super what the fucking word I'm looking for. What's the word? No. Yeah, all those. But when you fucking philanthropist, you can't be like the super outward philanthropist, but just giving out your money and being like, oh no, everyone. It's like, no, dude, you're a cutthroat motherfucker and you're doing shady shit. Even if it's legal, it's still like, fucked up and morally, whatever, like that. You're just not being that successful and just being like some great guy. It's just no way it's fucking happening.
Yeah, agreed. There's a difference between what's legal and what's morally correct. Like there's definitely a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, Sam, eating banana and pizza back to back is disgusting. Just want to point that out. He ate a banana and then pizza. What the fuck?
Jimmy Carter died.
Good.
I know. You see the Jimmy Carter? You see the Jimmy Carter fucking? Did Jimmy Carter die today? Twitter, and he was like, no. And then, like, 15 minutes. Community noted, and he was like, fuck.
Yeah. Anyway, fuck Ian Miles Chong. There's a lot that came out about him. I don't know if Sam, I'm gonna send this thread to the group chat. Just pull it up on your computer.
God,
I loved
so
the community
I
note.
don't want to do it. That's why.
The community note on Patrick Bet David's tweet when he was talking about working 80 hours a week, and the community notes just bodied him. I mean, just completely put him right in the ground.
Well,
like, oh, dude, I love this.
Him and Todd Hajopian or whatever the fuck.
He's a fucking little fat midget bitch.
They were both going off like, I worked 80 hours a week, and that's why my company's blah 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 blah. And it's like, bro. Well, and then people found Todd Hajopian, and he had fucking H-1B visa sponsorships too, and everybody was like, oh yeah, motherfucker, I bet you want. And it was for like some like 40K position or something like that. But it was just crazy because so what I did, I was just like I just decided I'm gonna look it up. I was like, what was housing cost when they were in their 20s, because they always talked about when they were in their 20s. And I did Patrick Bet David because he said when he came to this country he was fucking working 80 hours a week. And it was like, bro, you were fucking like 10 when you came to this country. So highly doubt, but whatever. So with Todd, I did, from the time he was 20, when he said he was so fucking good and doing so much work and everybody else is just lazy. And don't get me wrong, there is a problem with like work in the United States, but there's also a problem with like businesses in the United States to their workers. Like this whole problem is multifaceted. It's not one way or the other.
And like, I kind of hate that argument when people are like, oh, the younger generation, they just don't make the cut. They're not motivated. Like PBD like made like a video compilation about like basically shitting on the Zoomers here in America.
Yeah.
And then coupled that with like, this is why we need immigrants. And it's like, oh, so like the younger generation sucks because of like the culture here for whatever reason. And you're saying basically like, so we should replace them. So
Yeah.
we should just
Well,
go and get
what I
immigrants
did
to
was-
replace them.
So the replacement, that's a fucking conspiracy. Is not
Yeah.
so much a conspiracy. The
Well,
great
yeah, it's not
replacement
a
theory.
conspiracy.
Like my thing is that like there is a reasonable criticism of younger people in some
Absolutely.
respects where like I'm sure we all work with some younger guys where it's
Yeah,
like come
for
on dude,
sure.
like you are capable of doing better. But then like the other end of that conversation is why aren't these guys incentivized to do better, right? Like why don't they feel like they're getting their day's worth of a pay? And like I know this is like a very arbitrary argument that I'm making, but like why don't these people feel motivated enough to like do great things? Like that's a bigger conversation to have. And maybe to even give a little bit of credit to Vivek, I think that's kind of the point he was trying to make. But
it was
once
what they were
again,
trying.
like
Yeah.
the point shouldn't then be okay, well, we should import a bunch of people here. We should say, oh no, why don't we figure out why the average middle class male doesn't feel like he can prosper and have a family in this country?
But it's not
we should
even, it's
import
not
other
just
people
like
here.
prosper and have a family. Like, dude, there's this one kid that I have to work with every once in a while, and it's just like he has to hustle. He has to hustle, and he just he doesn't want to. And it's not that I don't even think it's a want thing. He's just like, I shouldn't have to. Like, in 2 kids, he's adopted them, so took the choice to adopt them, and it's just like, but not together with the mom anymore. And so like, but like 21, 22 years old.
Oh, so he's
And it's just
retarded.
like-
Just say that.
What?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like there's, and I'm not saying that situation is like normal, but I see a lot of guys that have the same mentality as this guy. And it's not that it's like, oh, I want to have a family and things are just too hard. It's like, no, I should be given a house. Like, and there's like that, there's like a given thing that I've seen a lot of where it's like, I should be given this stuff. And it's a lot of it is like what it started at the end of probably like my high school era, where like a lot of people just thought that we deserved certain shit. And it's like, I understand the difference. And this is what I was talking about with Patrick Bet David and Todd Hajopian. They were like, oh, this new generation, they don't know shit about blah, blah, blah. They don't know how to work and this, that, or the other. And I was like, when you were this age, at the same age, or like 8 years younger than me, but like they were 22. When you were 22, the fucking housing market median housing prices were this, median salaries were this, median fucking university fees, tuition was this for a year. And this is what it is for the average 22-year-old today. And it's like, fucking fucked. Like, it doesn't make sense. The numbers don't make sense. And it's like, how can you tell these people to hustle the same way that you did when they aren't even making a fraction of what you were comparatively? Like, it doesn't make sense. And that's a problem.
Social media shit fuck with the younger
it's fucked up a
generation.
lot.
Like, oh, you don't have to work. You can just do TikTok, and people are.
Yeah.
Every kid's like, I'm a TikTok star, and it's like, yeah, dude. All right.
Well,
It's like musicians for us
every
when we
asshole
were in
starts a
school. They were like,
podcast.
yeah, well, yeah, but we don't expect to make money off this thing.
That's true.
But it's like every like our generation, TikTok was musicians, but our parents told us, they were like, hey, you can, if you want to be a musician, awesome, like you can do that, but just know it's going to be really, really hard because there's a lot of people that are really fucking good at what they do, and it's just not a market that has a high rate of success. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be it, but you just have to be ready for the difficulties that come along with being a musician. It's the same thing with the TikTok shit, but I think a lot of these kids just aren't getting guidance the same way that we got guidance.
Yeah, and like my parents never told me I had to go fuck P. Diddy to make it in the music industry. If they would have told me that when I was little, I might have worked out.
Yeah, I would do that now.
Yeah.
Actually,
I mean, I would probably have a lot nicer of like a whole setup in my back or background here if like that was a realistic situation. But like, it always
story.
like I'm sure everybody had this with their parents, and like God bless them. I think they probably don't say this anymore, but like I remember being a kid when I first started working, and like, oh, well, my minimum wage when I was a kid was like $2 an hour. It's like you don't understand now. Like in 2010, it's a completely different world. Like.
Right.
$7.25 an hour does not go anywhere near as far as like $3 an hour did like 20 years before that. So like, and now you have to imagine that kids 10 years our junior are now going into the world. so much worse off. Where like,
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
seriously.
yeah, but like I thought about this. I'm like, okay, so when I first started working full time, I was making about 50 grand a year, and I mean, I felt like I didn't have enough cash to fucking, like I couldn't throw enough cash away. Like I had so much extra money at all times, and now obviously, 8 years later, I make way more than that now. But it's like, where the hell does all this fucking money go? Like I hardly have any money left anymore. So like now, kids have to go in. They're going to make way less, probably about the same or less than what I did when I first started, because I came out at the top of my
definitely
field.
less.
And then, now like, okay, interest rates are higher, which like, yeah, they need to go higher. But at the same time, it's like, just younger people
The
getting in the
value
job
of the
market now,
dollar is worse.
yeah, they're going to
Well,
fucking struggle like
yeah,
a
and
motherfucker.
this immigration, the H-1B visa, like, I mean, it is true when people say that, like, they can suppress wages because they can just import foreigners that will come in here and work for like
Yeah.
right.
50,000
Smeagol, it's a
when
joke.
livable wage for us is like
There's almost
70,
never
80
not
now.
an American for the job. It's that they want to pay less.
Right.
Like, and
Mhm.
it's factually true that there's always a certain number of like people that are qualified for a job, and if you increase that number, it's simple supply and demand. It makes it
And-
more expensive.
Another thing too, just real quick, Adam, I'll let you
Yeah,
go.
go.
But there's a lot of like anonymous accounts that are like very hard right wingers that I was like kind of listen to sometimes. Just recently, I'm finding out most of these guys were in tech, but like for some reason were pushed out of the now. Like their claim is like they think because they were white, like they had no authority or could not move up.
I've seen more of those stories.
And like, I mean, I don't know anything. I'm not an engineer. I never worked in these industries, but I mean, there probably is a lot of truth to like the DEI stuff coming into this country.
Star. That's not
and-
true,
and
Star.
replacing
I'm
people.
Aryan. But like also to be fair to like younger kids, like I didn't really understand the economy or like the value of money when I was like 21. Like
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Absolutely.
like I remember going to the
still
police
don't.
academy.
It's all fake and get we've decided.
Yeah.
I was in the police academy like 21, 22 years old, and I'm still living at home, and the starting salary for a cop back then was $25,100, and this was for New York City. And
What
they
year
did
was
this
that?
2008. And they did
1993, Jesus Christ.
1982. And they did the 25,100 part because technically $100 was above the poverty line. So they
Oh
did the $100.
my
Yeah.
God, dude.
But
Yeah,
as
dude.
a 21-year-old living at home, I was like, I'm fucking rich. And then like I'm seeing
Yeah,
guys
I'm
around
making
me
bank.
who are like, have 2 kids. They're like 30, 29, 32. They came out of the military and they're like, I can't fucking live off this. I'm like, dude, I'm crushing it right now. Like not
Dude,
understanding like how expensive things are in New York City, like having a family. Like so like there is that part of that too. You gotta learn.
I remember getting my first like paycheck outside of boot camp, like in the Marine Corps, and it was for 2 weeks, and it was like $650, and I was like, "Damn, dude, I'm a broke bitch." Like I was like, "What am I gonna do with
when
this?"
you come back home from boot camp, like you're literally forced for 3 months to save up like
Yeah.
6 paychecks.
They make you buy shit still. They make
Well,
you
yeah.
buy shit still.
But when you come out though, you got like $2,000, and you're like, "Let's go, boys! I'm home. Let's go hard."
But then you get your paycheck while you're on leave, and you're like $650. I just spent $1,000 this weekend.
Hey Rex, that's actually true. I was, and I had I had the flu that night when they won the Patriots
You
second
told this
time.
story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I couldn't call out because they thought I'd be lying, like I was drunk, even though I was legitimately had the flu. And the first call of the night was a giant bar fight. I just sat in the car like, die, get out. But
I just want to
yeah,
say,
so-
Smeagol fan said that our parents were boomers and didn't do too at all. My parents are Gen Xers, so fuck
my
all
parents
of
are
you.
boomers, 55.
My parents are
Yeah.
silent generation.
Yeah, your parents are old. I forgot about
My
that.
dad. That's not a
Yeah.
joke. My dad is.
I
from the
know, it's
silent
just funny.
generation.
Yeah.
My mom is a boomer though.
Yeah,
Yeah, my
Yeah.
parents are boomers.
My parents are 55, so
that's
Was
right
that
on the
Gen
edge
X?
of
Or
boomer.
is that the end of boomers?
It's the end of boomer.
End of
Like
boomer.
the beginning
boomer,
of
right?
boomer or end of boomer, beginning of Gen X, somewhere around
Yeah.
there.
So
Yeah.
boomer was what? 45?
What? Boomer was what?
I'm gonna look it up.
would that have been 40? It would have been like 45 to the
Look it up.
69 at latest. Because
Boomer's a
that's,
state
you
of
know,
mind.
Boomer is a state of mind.
46 to 64.
Oh, so
Yeah.
no, my parents aren't boomers, and they're Gen X.
So
They're
Gen
born in
X is
69.
65 to 80.
Yeah.
Millennials 80 to 94.
That is
my
not
parents
Gen
always,
X.
my parents always
Wait,
like they're
what?
born in
Oh,
67,
birth year.
68,
Never mind. Okay.
and they're like, we're not boomers,
Oh.
but like every political view and everything they say has like boomer mentality. I'm like, you guys are spiritually boomer. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
it's-
Well, and they're just that's the thing is like for me, like I'm millennial because I'm in 93, but
Just get a
millennial
cut.
like that, yeah, it's like just the cut, but there's 93ers and then there's 96ers, and like the difference between those, like it starts getting very wobbly between the
Yeah.
ends. So
Yeah, I mean,
there's a big
I-
gap. Even
I
up
was
to
Call
born
myself
in-
2000.
as millennial.
yeah,
Well,
I mean, I was born in
yeah.
94, and like a lot
Same.
of people.
You
that were
literally made the
born-
cut.
Yeah.
94 is the last millennial year.
The all like the kids that were born like 95. My wife was born in 96. So yeah, like even she's like different. And then like my a lot of guys that I work with that are like 25, 26, 27. I'm like, yeah, you guys just there's just a
You don't
little
get it.
off.
let me
You don't get it.
actually,
Yeah,
I was
like-
thinking about something like this is kind of off topic, but now we're talking about generations. But you know how like kind of the American promise was like, hey, everyone, let's not judge each other by our skin tone. Let's just,
Yeah.
judge everyone by the individual. And I
Yeah.
really think like Gen X and millennials really embodied that. Like, I really
Yeah.
think that most,
Yeah.
even the white guys and white
I
girls,
feel like that's how we grew up. Like
Yeah.
we've talked
Yeah.
about this before. That's
Well,
how
But
we
now
grew
that's
up.
racist.
well, I feel like
Right.
what happened with
Now
the
we have to
Zoomers,
bow
Treat
down and
everybody
kiss their
equally.
feet.
You have to view
yeah,
them
like
higher
the
than you.
Zoomer guys, like they're the ones coming up now. Like, I think those guys, like they grew up where it's like, okay, being white is actually like the worst thing ever. Like you're actually an
Yeah.
enemy of America or this country.
Of a free society.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you like they kind of like the white guys in the previous year were like, all right, we'll take that deal. Let's not judge.
But I think it was a
anyone.
lot of, but their parents are Gen Xers. Their Gen X parents created that. That's
Well,
the problem.
exactly, and they're watching like that's why there's like in the Zoomers. Like, let's just be honest, there is like,
They're like,
racism.
Hail Hitler.
There is
yeah.
racism like
Oh yeah, they're
growing
crazy.
in America. Like like they say anti-Semitism, like that is true. Like that,
Yes,
like, I'm not.
it's
I think
fucking
it's
true as
I
shit.
think people over exaggerate a lot of it because a lot of it's just online. Like, if we're just being honest, it's just online. It's not really happening in real life that I've seen. But it is somewhat true. But these kids, like we were just saying, like they go into this world, they're totally screwed. They're totally screwed. And they're just constantly being told that, like, they have to go along with this system that has screwed them over or screwed their family over. And they're like, yeah, okay, fine. Call me racist. I'll be worse than that. I'll be a fucking Nazi. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, I want to get out of that. I don't want to be stuck
was
in
like-
this pit.
We went to like millennials that were just like, yeah, bro, we're all created equal. We just get by on our merit. And then like the ones below us are like, that's not allowed. You have to kowtow to everybody that's not white. And then the ones below that were like, fuck all the people that aren't white. We're white, and that's it. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
it would
They're
just
scary.
it just
So,
like swung and then swung back, and it's like, oh my god. And
Gen
guess what? The
Z
economy is fucked.
is from 95 to 09, and then
Holy shit.
Generation Alpha is 2010 is right now.
Dude,
Alpha
Gen
might be
Alpha,
worse.
Welcome back to the
those
conversation.
people are insane, Mike.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
I don't
the
know.
way they talk is crazy. And like, maybe I'm showing my fucking age here, but I tried to talk to one and it's a fucking alien. It's an alien.
Yeah,
That's true.
The kids in their early 20s definitely do have like a lot of sayings and
No,
just,
I'm
like-
talking about like 12 and below.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
in
I
the
know.
middle
Oh,
school
yeah.
lately, it's like they're speaking a cryptic language.
Oh, it's insane. It's
You think our
hieroglyphs
parents
in
said the
words.
same thing
It's
about us?
crazy.
Probably.
No,
Probably.
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
know. At
Agree,
least
we all had sayings and stuff that were like, but like, dude, Luke's
It's
right. If you talk
hieroglyphs
to
with
a middle
words.
schooler, it's you don't. I'm like, oh, is this a language that you made up with your friends? Like, what are you
They're-
saying to me right
They're
now?
talking in pictures, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
They're
it
like-
doesn't make sense.
Like 30% of them are illiterate, and they're like they like some of these kids go to bed and they said, "Don't forget to like and subscribe." Like it's that type of thing. Like these kids were
Yeah.
raised. Like
They're
it's not
fucked.
even iPad kids. It's 100% YouTube kids. Like it's worse than iPad kids.
Yeah.
That's Gen Z. It's crazy. They're fucked. And
It's
if they were the
crazy.
youngest, man, like think about 2020. Like if you're a high schooler and you lost 2 years to COVID being at home, that's gonna hurt you. But like long term, it happened later in your development. But if you were
Yeah.
2 or
Right.
3
You knew what it was
or
like
4,
before.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, those kids are screwed for life.
Mhm.
Those few years of the ones that were shut
true.
down for 2 years,
Yeah.
those kids are gone. Like there's a certain percentage of them that will never recover, and the entire
Especially if their
generation
parents
is going
didn't
to
take up
have,
the mantle.
dude, it's going to be so bad.
Yeah.
Like we're going to have increased levels of antisocial behavior. We're going to have probably an increased percentage of serial killers out of that generation. Like that is very, very bad.
God, it's
And
gonna
I
be so much
cannot
fun.
believe they did that.
We
They-
need
like
a
they-
new fun serial killer in the mix. We haven't had one
Dude,
cool one in a
the
while.
microeconomic studies that are going to be done on those kids as they reach adulthood will be like insane. What like we won't know for 20 years, but it's going to
I
get
know.
very, very, very bad. Like I don't think anyone has really addressed that. Some
No, they
people have
haven't,
mentioned
because-
it, but it's like
because if you-
huge.
Yeah, because if you talk about it and you point to the reason why, which is COVID, there's still people wearing masks and doing masked events required today. It's insane. So like you can't
Those people
you
should be
can't blame
deported.
COVID. Yeah, send them back. Send them back to the factory that they came out of.
I told you
They're
guys,
not
there's
fucking real.
a young kid who goes to this very gym I'm at right now that wears a mask while it works out, and he's like in his 20s.
Ugh.
That's
Just
crazy, dude.
a helicopter ride.
Right? Having AI overlords don't sound
There
so
we
bad now
go.
that you describe how retarded the youth is currently.
True.
And yeah, I just it's crazy. They literally talk in hieroglyphics, bro. It doesn't make sense.
Wild.
The shit,
Well-
it's all taglines and YouTube phrases.
All TikTok phrases and shit.
You
Like,
know,
yeah,
like
I'm
TikTok
like-
trends, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, dude.
I know this is kind of like you guys sound pretty pessimistic here, but like in my mind, it's like the kids who want to do good will do good. Like, especially because everybody else is going to be so mediocre in this respect, where like, look, if you're just somewhat social, if you go to the gym just a little bit, dude, your life is going to be so
Yeah, but
easy.
that's already the problem we have.
Yeah, but, well, I mean, from what you guys are saying, it's going to be that much worse, though. Like, good for
Absolutely.
whoever's going to take it, but worse for those who won't.
Right. But yeah, I'm just saying the sanity level of the people that just do a little bit better, they're gonna go so far insane out of their heads because of how it's gonna be idiocracy. Like and I'm being facetious
already
here.
there.
I'm not
We're
Yeah,
already
I'm
Dude,
not-
there.
it's
I'm
not like it's our literacy rates are going down. Like
You know
it's
your
real.
camera's off?
Yeah, I got.
Okay.
okay. I didn't know who was talking at first. I was like, what the fuck?
Spend all this money on these fancy ass cameras, and they're
Dude,
all
maybe it's better their illiteracy rate's down. They won't fall for the propaganda, dude. They literally can't read it.
Yeah, it's the fucking the Pareto principle or the Pareto distribution.
I agree with
You just have the
Right
one side
here.
and then the other.
with the No Child Left Behind thing. That was bad. That
Dude, I'm so
leave
glad
it
it-
behind.
That was my generation. I remember that. That was Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
those
fucked
two.
up because there's so many retarded kids out there, and they're just pushing them through, and now they get. Also, as we all know, it's not about what you know; it's who you know. And a lot of these like
Yeah.
managers and positions and jobs and all that shit, it's like they just are buddies with somebody, and they're genuinely retarded. And you're like, how the
Dude.
fuck are you in charge of me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Fuck, dude. Some people. That's how I felt in the military. Some of the dude, I was just
Yeah.
like, oh my god, how did you get let in?
A staff sergeant trying to read a promotion warrant he's heard
Dude,
1,000
oh my
times and he can't read the
God.
words.
It was the worst, dude.
It was the worst.
We had
I
I had a
just
drill
can't.
instructor. Well, Sam, you were on the East Coast, right?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure yours is like this too. But
Katie? No, I'm just
we
kidding.
do like the Crucible, and we go to each like Medal of Honor recipient, and they have us
Couldn't
read
read
like
their names.
well, the drill instructor would read the memory and the memoir about whatever this Medal of Honor recipient did and how they got it. And I don't want to make it like this, but this black staff sergeant that was my drill instructor.
We've all seen both white and black illiterate
Yeah.
staff sergeants.
Yes,
just so we're clear.
absolutely.
This one was just black.
But that was he was the first one. He was the first one, and he goes to read
it's
it.
3 out of 5 of us.
And it was
3 out of the 5.
Oh my God, dude. You're standing there at attention, but I just wanted to break out of there and just like read it for him, dude. This was bad.
Yeah.
It was like, it was taking like, it took him like 5 minutes to read.
These are
something that probably
these
took
are
him
like
bad for
little
him.
sentences too. Like it's like a paragraph and a half. Like it's 6 to 8 sentences maybe.
Yeah.
Because they designed them to be read by staff NCOs. Some lieutenant had to bring in a master sergeant and be like, how do we dumb this down for them?
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's bad, dude.
And so and so that's the generation above us. That's most of those were Gen Xers. So that's that would be fucking Adam's kids. So like it took that was a slow burn on that.
Yeah, I was like, no, would it?
But so like it's not that there's a lot of inadequacy in all of these generations. I just think it's getting worse. Like I think as it goes, like shit travels downhill. Yeah. I'm just the fucking metaphor guy today, I guess, or the saying.
Well, it started with the boomers, dude, and went
Yeah.
downhill from there.
Yeah, it really did.
They fucked that. And they fucked so much shit up, from like policy to the way they hoard their wealth. And I'm not saying that I deserve their wealth or anything. It's just like it wasn't the way that their family did it before, and they were just like, "Fuck you guys," because we have the greatest economy ever. And then they just needle dicked the fuck out of it. And
They said, "Let's get our bag, bro. Let's get our
My
fucking
ancestors
bag."
are literally the Washingtons, the aristocracy, the Washington family.
And look at you.
Someone
Look at you
fucked
now.
up along the way, dude. I don't have shit. Like, what is this, dude?
You got
Like,
a
who
shitty
fucked this up
mustache
for
and
me? I
weak
wanna know.
genetics.
We had it so good, dude.
Dude,
George Washington was tall, dude, and I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
We're talking like 18 generations. Just because one like freaking ugly stepchild, mated with a prostitute 17 generations back, and then your entire line was just Scott's Irish trash. Like obviously 17 generations down the line, we get you. Like, okay, you're what? You're 0.5% George Washington. You're basically the Elizabeth Warren of aristocracy.
George
in America.
Washington
Okay, but
lines.
still, dude, that family was loaded.
I'm just kidding. I just want
So
to go
somehow-
The
That
other half is fucking
generational
German
wealth
mercenaries, typo. Fuck
got
you.
fucking destroyed. Is all I'm saying.
dude, but
The other half of that
the-
was German mercenaries, so fuck off, typo.
Whatever.
Fought
the-
against us.
the English nutter side of me was related to the Bartletts, and one of those dudes signed the Declaration of Independence, and what the fuck, my family's doing nothing. So,
Yeah, well,
so
like
it's
4
all-
generations ago, your idiot family mated with a bunch of dirty wops right off the boat, and that sealed your future.
also facts. The
This is
Italian side of me
exactly
is
what
very new
happened.
here.
My family, the reason I'm trash is because 4 or 5 generations back, the people who descended all the way from the founder of Connecticut decided, oh, that Irish woman who just came off the boat looks really cute. And now 4 generations down, my family is all pieces of shit alcoholics. How does that happen?
Yeah. Yeah, we really muddied the bloodlines in all of our
You
families.
really
huh?
got to get rid of the mix and the wops.
Dude,
after
Dude,
you get
it's
rid of the
the- I
idiots.
know, it's-
That's really what it is.
Sam, it's the immigrants, bro. The immigrants,
Listen,
they
We
fucking
didn't do
honeypot you,
anything
bro.
wrong. All we do is strengthen the fucking ports
They
with our fucking
honeypot.
scam.
They
Diversity is our
dude.
strength.
Race
The
war.
Russians,
Race war.
mine is the Russians. The Russians did it to me. That's what I'm going with. The Russians fucked me, dude. So I'm half retarded.
Yeah, and Kyle's
an
Polish,
insane
dude. His
racist
family
rant I
started
just went
World
on
War II. Those
against
pieces
whites.
of shit, dude.
Yeah.
I'm Polish, Czech, and Italian. All right.
Yeah, 3 different styles of trash.
Yeah, well, you could be 3. You know what? I got 3 of something for you. So you could be fucking 1, 2 testicle and 1 shaft right in your fucking mouth and on your chin.
You sure your little Polak cock can reach me?
It don't matter if it's gonna reach. It all looks the same from your perspective. Don't worry. Fucking little
It's in your
Polish pubes
face and
right in
down
your
your
eye.
throat, boy.
Yeah. You're gonna have a little fucking mushroom stamp on the back of your uvula.
All right, let's all put
Fucking
it
open up and
dicks,
say,
and we'll
Oh,
see
God.
Okay.
which race has the biggest dick.
Here we go. How'd you guys get banned and a sexual assault charge?
All right, guys, we should wrap it up.
Reel it in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I gotta go before the gym closes.
Cool.
That was a classic
Very
ending.
nice.
Did they
Uh,
just turn it off on
Great
you, or
job.
what do they do?
No, like they start shutting the doors. You gotta leave.
They're like,
You're
yo,
locked in
Adam,
here
get the
overnight.
fuck out.
Is that a pregnant man emoji for the Navy? Holy
Yeah,
shit.
that sounds right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Um,
I can't.
It's just crazy
I
that's
can't
a
do
thing.
that.
Okay,
All right,
follow me on
so-
MySpace.
Yeah, this week my podcast will be with officer Jesus Ken Hammond, who is a fellow that studies Chinese history. So we're going to talk about China history with Taiwan and U.S. as well. I'm really excited for that. Common Crown, and I think that's all I got.
Follow me at
I'm
Adam Nutter.
paying him now.
Wait,
Kyle-
Kyle's a Fed.
Colin Fed.
Yeah. Oh man, listen, if I was, believe me, that would look a lot nicer.
Yeah. Also, be wasting his time
Um,
trying to infiltrate the 5 or the 4 of us retards.
Yeah, you're wasting your time.
He'd
I'm
be
not
at the
doing
Daily
shit
Wire
for your
right now,
ass.
dude.
Yeah.
Follow me at
Kyle's
Adam Nutter
like,
on
hey, you should
Twitter-
go.
Twitter.
You should go wire up that bomb, and I'm like, no, I'm too lazy for that. Fuck you.
Also,
keep
the
it
only
real,
team I
Lou.
root for that is successful right now is Oregon. So let's go Oregon. Every other team go fuck themselves. Follow me on Twitter.
Oh, so bet against Oregon because Adam has horrible taste in sports teams, and they're definitely going to lose now. Thanks to Adam. Yeah, they're going to lose
Until
now.
this weekend, since you bet on them.
I don't
Yeah,
bet
you
on them.
just fucked
You don't
it.
bet on your own team. Bad luck.
Keep it real, Luke. Biting the Bullet podcast. Go check us out.
At the Real Typo on Twitter. That's all. I'm with Luke. So if you're new here, we do a
Nice.
podcast together.
Follow me on MySpace.
Cool.